This is a quick guide for playing Restoration Druid in the War Within Season 1 for both Mythic Plus and Raiding. Let's get into it then. So, first things first, our mastery is Harmony. Your healing is increased for the more hots you have on the target. If you don't know what a hot is, it's a heal over time spell. The more hots we have, the more healing we do. What does our set bonus do this season? Some of our healing is increased, and your healing is increased by 8% when consuming Soul of the Forest's bonus, and for 6 seconds afterwards. If you've forgotten what that is, or you don't know, basically when we use Swift Mend, it increases the healing of our next redo for Rejuvenation or Wild Growth by 150 or 50%. We're going to start off looking at the raiding build, which actually isn't this talent tree here. It is this one. So we are going to be using Wild Growth for that. Looking then at the actual priority of the spells we are going to be using, we are going to be using Efflorescence as a top priority in Raid, and you're going to want to keep this wherever the main party is, so wherever the tanks and the melee, or wherever people are grouped up the most, keep people in here and keep healing them when they are in it. We can only use 1 Life Bloom, not 2, because of the talents we've picked in Raiding, and you're going to keep this on the tank at all times. Regrowth used fairly sparingly. It can get quite intensive when you're using this a lot with mana. We're going to use Swift Mend in Raiding and then immediately use Wild Growth. Because of the Soul of the Forest talent, we are actually going to be doing a lot more healing with the Wild Growth we use after using a Swift Mend. And because of our set bonus this season, it means that our healing is going to be increased after using that Soul of the Forest. Rejuvenation, you can have this, you can have 2 of them on one person at a time, so you can rejuve and then rejuve again on the same person. So we can use this quite a lot when we're ramping up for big incoming damage as a Restoration Druid. Use your Grove Guardians pretty freely as well. You don't want to cap out on them. These are going to be passively doing healing for you. Then moving on to the cooldowns we have, Incarnation Tree of Life means you're doing more healing, you've got a load more armor, and it's going to enhance your regrowth, your rejuvenation, and your wild growth. Regrowth is going to be instant cast, rejuvenation is going to be doing increased healing, but also with a reduced mana cost, and wild growth will actually affect additional targets. Nature Swiftness, you can use this as well to get a double healing regrowth. That's on a 1-minute cooldown and should be used as so. One thing to also note with Tree of Life is this talent here, Reforestation. Every 3 casts of Swift Mend grant you Tree of Life for 10 seconds. Every time you use this 3 times, every 3rd use of Swift Mend, you will get to go into Tree of Life automatically for 10 seconds. You can see up the top left here, or top right, sorry, on my buffs, Reforestation, every 3 casts grants you that for 10 seconds. You can also use Flourish with your Grove Guardians out. I mean, you've got loads of hots out, or again, heal over time spells, to extend the duration of all of your heals and increase how quickly your heals do deal their healing as well. And then once again, you've ramped up, use Tranquility to heal allies over a channeled amount of time. Because of our mastery, it's actually increasingly important, because remember, we're doing more healing for the more heal over times we have on people. So ramp up with all those healing over times and then go in with Tranquility to do that massive amount of healing. Apart from that, for this quick rotation guide, we are going to be using Keeper of the Grove hero talents in Raid. The main keystone talent here is Dream Surge. Grove Guardians causes your next target heal to create 3 dream petals near the target, and they will heal up to 3 nearby allies, and it can stack up to 3 charges. And the bottom talent, each of your Grove Guardians increases your healing done by 5% while active, meaning you should be using your Grove Guardians very freely to get that extra healing. Moving over into the Mythic Plus build, you can see here we're now going out of Keeper of the Grove and into Wild Stalker. Let's just talk about that quickly, seeing as we're here. The Keystone talent, Thriving Growth. A few of your healing spells have a chance to cause a symbiotic bloom to grow on the target, healing them, and multiple instances can overlap. And the bottom talent, Vigorous Creepers. Symbiotic blooms increase the healing your spells do to affected targets. We've also gained Cenarian Ward. It's on 30-second cooldown. Use it to shield your allies. We've also lost a few talents over here. We can no longer put 2 rejuvenations on one target, only 1. We're keeping Reforestation, meaning every 3 Swift Mends we still go into Tree of Life. However, we cannot go into Tree of Life manually because we've taken Convoke the Spirits. You can use your Convoke the Spirits on cooldown every 1 minute, and it will blast out a load of DPS and healing spells, which is much more useful in Mythic Plus. Apart from that, rotation has stayed pretty much the same. Efflorescence, keep everyone in it. Life Bloom can now be used on 2 different people at once. I would keep it on yourself and either the tank or whoever is taking a lot of damage. Regrowth, you can use it a bit more in Mythic Plus if you want, because mana isn't much of an issue where you can drink on the go. Swiftmend's the same. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Swiftmend, if everyone's taking group damage, still use your Soul of the Forest on Wild Growth, but do also feel free to use it on Regrowth if one person is taking a lot of damage. Rejuvenation, you don't need to use as much in Mythic Plus. Nature Swiftness, still use on your Regrowth to double your healing. And again, you can use your Grove Guardians pretty freely here as well. A lot of people do like to go into Melee and Catweave as Mythic Plus. I would say to use Shred and Rake as your combo point builders, get up a rip on the target, and then use Ferocious Bite as your other spender. It's a bit more important now in Season 1 of the War Within as it was in Dragonflight because of Call of the Elder Druid, where when going into Feral, you gain a combo point every 2 seconds while in cat form and physical damage is increased. Basically, you get the Heart of the Wild buff once every minute when you shapeshift, so you can get this effect quite a lot. And while Heart of the Wild is active, Wrath and Shred transfer 50% of their damage, and Starfire and Swipe transfer their damage as well into healing onto a nearby ally, meaning when you're doing some damage in Mythic Plus, you're also converting it into healing, which is amazing for being able to do or deal DPS as a healer. And that is pretty much it for this quick guide, guys. If you were looking for something a lot more in depth, check out the pinned comment in this video's description, where I've put my full in-depth guide from my main channel on there for you, which is a lot longer. I go into a lot more depth on the hero talents, etc. If you did enjoy this video, please do check out the description as well for my Patreon, where you can support the channel and get loads of LVI profiles as well as macros that I'm putting together for every spec in the War Within. You can also click this playlist up here, where you can see all of my other spec guides. I am doing quick guides for every class and spec in the War Within Season 1.